Shalom, giving all honor, all praise, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Marachak, Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great Muslim that rule well. And as always, peace, blessings, and salutations unto the tabernacle of David, the faithful elect that are scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. Now, this is definitely a conversation, that goes silent amongst Jake, because this is something that Jake don't want to deal with. Jake don't want to make, lifestyle changes. And, this is the price you pay, when you don't want to, make those sacrifices and, have the discipline. I'm pretty sure everybody knows by now, neo soul singer D'Angelo, he had passed yesterday morning to a pancreatic cancer. And that makes sense why, he had he'd been MIA, for a while. I thought he may have been, secretly working on a project, so he just stayed hidden. Because I remember he did that with his last album that came out like a little over 10 years ago. But, he was dealing with health issues, and a lot of his lifestyle choices caught up with him. And I came across this article here. It says, deaths of hip-hop artists reveal the alarming state of black men's health. And you think about it, if they're not being murdered, if they're not dying in a homicide, they're dying of medical reasons, these health issues, whether it be cardiac arrest, having heart attacks, diabetes, cancer. This is how they're going out, and they're going out fairly young. A lot of them, they're not making it to senior citizen status. So that's how you know that Jake, they're not treating their bodies right. The scriptures tell us that our bodies is a temple, and whosoever shall defile the temple, the Lord will destroy. All right, and the Lord told you what's clean for your body and what isn't clean. Jake loved to eat outside of the dietary law because, they have certain taste. Certain things taste good to them. So they won't cut it out their diet. They'll just continue to eat it and don't learn from the effects that it causes in their bodies. So you have to really take care of your body, man. Your body is what houses your spirit. It's a temple for your spirit. Okay. So, it says here, let me jump down. It says neo soul trailblazer D'Angelo, whose music defined a generation, died Tuesday after a prolonged and courageous battle with cancer, according to his family. He was 51. Yeah, that's young. 51 years old. Let me get I believe it's in Psalms, the 90th chapter. But it tells you that we usually live up to around 70 years old, and by strength, you might live up to 80 years. But Jake ain't even making it that far, man, because of their lifestyle choices. Where's it at? Is it in 90th chapter? Yeah, here it is. Psalm 90, and I'll start at 9. It says, for all our days are passed away. In thy wrath we spend our years as a tale that is old. The days of our years are 60 and 10. That's 60 plus 10, that's 70 years. And if by reason of strength, they be 80 years old, which is 80 years. Yet is their strength labor and sorrow, for it is soon cut off and we fly away. All right, and that's why it also says in James that our life is as a vapor. Because 1 minute we here and then the next we're gone. James 4 and 13, it says, "Go to now, ye that say, today or tomorrow we will go into such a city and continue there a year and buy and sell and get gain." You know, you're setting a schedule, you're making all these plans, you know, like you just know that you're gonna, live long. You don't know what day can be that day. That's why it says, whereas you know now what shall be on the morrow, for what is your life? It is even a vapor that appeareth for a little time and then vanisheth away. For that you ought to say, if the Lord will, we shall live and do this or that. But now, yes, you rejoice in your boastings, all such rejoicing is evil. So, we're here 1 minute and then we're going in the next. And Jake ain't making it to, they're not living a full life. And that's all due to their lifestyle choice, because some of these things can be environmental. Some of it can be inherently genetic. But most of the time, it's lifestyle. Okay? And that's why, the scriptures say the wages of sin is death. This is the reason why, we die. And according to the Lord said that if we didn't follow his commands, which who made the human body? The Lord did. He designed it. So he knows. Deuteronomy 28:15, it says, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." And our people, they don't keep his commands. They've been accustomed to sinful lifestyle, being here in Babylon the Great. The American lifestyle is basically a sinful lifestyle, which is really a death style. Our diet leads us to death. Just the ways of society in general in the West, it leads you to death. Like it says in Proverbs, "There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death." The mentality, everybody's impulsive. You only live once. So Jake is their minds are screwed up in a land of confusion. We're in a land of darkness, man, where the darkness is light and light is darkness. So one of the curses, if we didn't hearken unto the voice of the Lord and to keep his instructions, he said that he would plague us with all these diseases, sicknesses. Let me see if I could find it. Here it is, Deuteronomy 28:58. It says, "If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, the Lord thy God," all right, which his name is Yahweh, "then the Lord Yahweh will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sicknesses, and of long continuance." And that's dealing with chronic diseases. All right, which chronic diseases are continual. They're long lasting. Chronic disease definition is a health condition that lasts for an extended period of time, typically for more than 3 months or 1 year, requires ongoing medical attention, may need regular monitoring, treatment, or lifestyle modifications. You got to change your lifestyle, change what you putting in your body, change your diet, exercise. Jake don't do that, man. Because Jake, you got certain Jake, they just work and then just go home and eat and watch the game and then go to sleep and repeat the process. All right. And they just, falling apart on the inside, just letting themselves go. It's not a way to live, man. It cannot be cured. In most cases, chronic diseases cannot be completely cured and may persist for the patient's lifetime. May have a significant impact on daily life, can limit activities, mobility, or overall health and well-being. Examples of chronic diseases include heart disease, diabetes, cancer, stroke, asthma, and arthritis. And Jake, they when it comes to these categories, Jake is at the top. Jake has the highest percentile rate in all these different diseases. And that's because the Lord, like it says in Amos, you of all the families of the earth have I known, therefore will I punish you for all your iniquities. And remember, we're a holy people. We're supposed to be a holy people to the Lord. But our people eat an unholy diet. They make unholy lifestyle choices, smoking cigarettes. D'Angelo, he was an avid, heavy smoker, man. He smoked a lot of cigarettes. Pretty sure he drank a lot of alcohol, and I believe he may have had a drug problem. I don't know what particular drug, but I'm pretty sure he had his he had his addictions. And being out there on that road, being in that damn industry, it wears you out. So a lot of these Jakes in that industry, they try to numb themselves, and it's really like a coping mechanism. Because you get worn out, man. You see a lot, you go through a lot. You open up to all kind of evil spirits. So Jake get on that coping mechanism and eat a bunch of food because they can afford to, smoke a lot, drink a lot of alcohol. It wasn't too long ago, you had Fat Man Scoop. The homie was having a heart attack right on stage as he was performing. Ended up dropping dead. You had Irv Gotti. Man is only in his 50s. I think Fat Man Scoop was in his 50s as well. All these dudes were in their 50s, man. Gone. Health related problems. And these are supposed to be, millionaires. Well, all that money don't mean anything if you got to live like that in the flesh. Let me get Sirach 30. And this is why we stress amongst us. We stress about diet, man. Taking care of your health, taking care of your body, because you need to be able-bodied to serve the Lord. You need to be able-bodied to pray, do your daily tasks, your daily deeds, to take care of your family. But what good is that if you can't do anything because you all messed up? Sirach 30 and 14, it says, better is the poor being sound and strong of constitution than a rich man that is afflicted in his body. All these celebrities, all these rap stars, singers, and even some of the actors, man. They all just not eating right. And you even forget some of the famous jakes that pass. Cause it be so many of them, all right, transitioning back to the spiritual realm. You be forgetting. All them stars is falling from heaven, man. It says here, it says DJ Premier mourned the singer on X, writing such a sad loss to the passing of D'Angelo. We have so many great times. Gonna miss you so much. Sleep peacefully. D-Love, you king. The Grammy-winning singer and songwriter collaborated with Premier and other hip-hop artists such as The Roots, Lauryn Hill, Method Man, among others. D'Angelo joins a growing list of black male R&B and hip-hop producers and artists who have passed away prematurely. Earlier this year, Murder Inc. co-founder Irv Gotti died. The 54-year-old openly discussed his longtime struggle with diabetes. And you can easily, do your Googles and type in, what causes or what are risk, that causes these conditions. Risk factors for diabetes. Say family history, having a close relative with diabetes increases your risk. Yeah, so sometimes it's genetically inherited as well, and that's part of the curse. Because it said that when you go back to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, let me go back. Deuteronomy 28 and verse was it 44, 43? No, 46. Here it is. Yep, 46. I'm gonna start at verse 45. It says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy power to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So some of these conditions will cleave unto, your descendants as a sign, man. So these chronic illnesses, diabetes, cancer, sickle cell, that's you can inherit that because that's a curse, and all you can really do is treat it. And I'm pretty sure there's a way you can actually reverse it. If you know your herbs, what it does, for the body. That's why the scriptures talks about the praise of the physicians. Let me get that. I'm gonna come back to this in Sirach, the 30th chapter. But you gotta, know your herbs and natural medicines, because those are real natural healers. Jake, they depend on conventional medicine made by petroleum, and that's a money-making scheme from the biggest drug cartel there is, which is a big pharma. Okay, they make a killing off of it. Sorry, I meant to go to the 38th chapter. Yeah, Sirach 38 and 1, it says, honor a physician with the honor due unto him for the uses which you may have of him. For the Lord hath created him. For of the Most High cometh healing, and he shall receive honor of the king. Yeah, so, you take the right medicines, which are naturally from the earth, all right, which the physician would be well studied into. And then, not only you take the herbs, but you also say your prayers, pray to the Lord. Hey, even D'Angelo made a song called Prayer. He had the Lord's Prayer in his song. But if he would have took heed to, I'm pretty sure somebody at some point in his life have, warned him about his lifestyle choices. You try to tell Jake that, hey man, stop, put them cancer sticks out, man. Try to cut that out. Tell Jake that, hey, put the swine down, man. Stop eating swine. It's not good for you. Jake will make an excuse to keep doing it. So it's like you can't even tell them anything because they're not going to change. They're stubborn. They don't understand the benefits when you make those sacrifices. It says, verse 3 says, the skill of the physician shall lift up his head, and in the sight of great men he shall be in admiration. The Lord have created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them. Okay. Yeah, the Lord made the herbs, for medicinal use. He made it, for our service. So no, you're not going to abhor it. Yeah, a lot of it have that bitter earth taste to it, but that's what it's supposed to do. All right. And you're supposed to have a balance. You're not supposed to have too much of anything in your body. Jake don't eat, they don't eat their leafy greens. They don't take any chlorophyll into their body. They eat a lot of processed foods, which is cancer producing. A lot of these are red meats, TV dinners. You shouldn't even be eating that. Anything that when you see the box and it's a paragraph of chemicals, you just know that that's a slow kill. And it's witchcraft because, you eat it and you be like, damn, this shit tastes good. It definitely has taste to it, but it has no nutrients at all whatsoever. And you just keep eating it just for the taste, because there is flavor enhancers and receptors in it that keeps it addictive. So you're just going to keep eating it because you're addicted to it. And before you know it, your health is slipping away. And that's all by design. That's why this is another reason why this place gotta go. This is why we hasten the coming of the day of the Lord, where there will be a new heaven and a new earth, and all this will pass away from us. Because in our kingdom, we're not going to have genetically modified organisms. And the one Jake said, what organism? What kind of organisms are they putting in it? But it's all laboratory created. And it's all killing us. So everybody is overweight. They're obese. Have breathing issues. Can't even walk up a flight of stairs. Can't run for a certain period of time. Can't do 2 pull-ups. Can't do 2 push-ups. Always got to sit down. You got people that be in those little electrical chairs because they can't walk for a long period of time. This is a mess down here. But a lot of our people, they do it to themselves. Stress. They eat for comfort. A lot of people with jobs where it requires you to have to sit down for long periods of time throughout the day. You got to sit at a damn phone or a computer. And that's how you pack on all those pounds, man. No exercise. This is something that Jake don't like to talk about. We talk about this all the time, man. You come into the knowledge of the truth, it opens you up to a lot, man. Things that you're not doing things that you're supposed to be doing, things that you are doing that you ain't supposed to be doing. Like it puts it all in perspective, and it puts us in check. All right, this word is a natural healer, man. It says, was not the water made sweet with wood, that the virtue thereof might be known, and he have given men skill that he might be honored in his marvelous works. With such doeth the heal men and taketh away their pains. Of such doeth the apothecary make a confection, and of his works there is no end, and from him is peace over all the earth. My son, in thy sickness be not negligent, but pray unto the Lord, and he will make thee whole. All right. You got to pray fervently. Often make your prayer. Okay. Was that in James? Because that goes hand in hand with it. I think it's in, was it James? 5th chapter. It is James 5:13. It says, is any among you afflicted? Let him pray. Is any merry? Let him sing psalms. Is any sick among you? Let him call for the elders of the church, and let them pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of the Lord. And the prayer of faith shall save the sick, and the Lord shall raise him up, and if he have committed sins, they shall be forgiven him. Because a lot of these illnesses come because of your sins. All right. Confess your faults one to another and pray for one another that you may be healed. The effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. Okay, so even D'Angelo understood that. But you just have to make the right choices too. Turn from sin. And Jake smoking them cancer sticks and, taking drugs, which drugs is witchcraft. We're not supposed to be indulging in drug use, because that's straight up witchcraft. And that's a work of the flesh. When you go to, what's that, Galatians? DMX had his issue. And how old was he? He was what, 50 years old, 51 years old? Around the same age. And he ended up dropping, man. Had a heart attack, and then had I think a stroke maybe. Ended up losing his brain, man. He became a vegetable, and it was like, yeah, he might as well go. Some people said it was that jump shot, the jab. Which we're finding out a lot about that. Those jabs that they had everybody getting, it multiplied whatever illness you had. It exacerbated it. It amplified it. It sped up the kill process. That's devil, man. He's Satan in the flesh, man. Galatians 5 and 19, it says, now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, and in that industry, a lot of that goes down. Passing these women around in that industry, or men dealing with married women. When you famous and desired by a bunch of women, you got access to a bunch of women. It's some of these women that are married will come after you too. It tells you that how the adulterous woman will hunt for the precious life. You got to get away from them. It says uncleanness. Whether morally or even ceremonially. And you eat, the shellfish that Jake can't put down, the lobster, the crab. When you can't put down the swine, the bacon and the pork chops, pig feet, chitlins that Jake likes. It makes you unclean. uncleanness, physical in a moral sense, the impurity of lustful, luxurious, prolificate, profligate living of impure motives. Mole, that mole lifestyle too is abominable, is disgusting, and it's definitely unclean. A lot of that goes on in the industry too. It says lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft. You look up witchcraft, pharmakia. All right, medication. They be on them pills a lot. They take them pills and get addicted, i.e. by extension, magic, literally or figuratively, sorcery, witchcraft, the use or administering of drugs, poisoning. Jake get on it bad, man. DMX had it bad. They said Mary J. Blige had an issue too, but she changed. And you see she's still alive. She was on alcohol and drugs a lot. Was getting passed around and all kind of stuff. That dude, KC from KC and JoJo, look how messed up he looked. He looked like he, for years, I'll say for the last almost 20 years, that dude looked like he about to drop. KC from Jodeci. There's poison and sorcery, magical arts, often found in connection with idolatry and fostered by it, metaphorically the deceptions and seductions of idolatry. And then these doctors, all right, which to doctor means to falsify something. A lot of them, they take the Hippocratic oath, which is basically an oath to Greek gods, and they get initiated, and they get to put on that white jacket and administer drugs all day. And that and those drugs is straight up taking people out. Physicians of no value, man. But going back, so you see witchcraft, that's what that means. All right, it says hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, and heresy. And I bet you Esau gonna set something up where you might get another scare. They're gonna hype up some variant, and now you gotta take this shot or that shot. They try to fearmonger you into taking these potions. People have been conditioned going back to the operation carried out in 2020 and 2021. You still trust this devil? Go right ahead. Scriptures say, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness." Now, I wonder why ISUPK. I wonder if they're keeping it a secret amongst them, because them dudes, they was pushing that. You had literally guys in their congregation that was going to take it. You mean to tell me it didn't do nothing to nobody over there? I don't believe that. Unless Satan is really, really working with them and keeping them preserved. At least Nate admitted that some people in his congregation, there was a number of people that took it because they didn't have faith, and they was dropping over there. And that was all because of the advice that Nate initially gave them. When the thing first started, and I got the clip. I got the receipt. He made it okay at first, and then he started to find out what was going on, and then he changed his mind, because he always does that. Always switching up, always constantly changing. Scriptures say, meddle not with them that are given to change. The apostles, the elders, the brothers at Great Millstone, we said no from the get-go. Don't take that shit. Lose your job then. Fuck that. It says envyings, murders, drunkenness, and I wouldn't be surprised if D'Angelo and all these other rappers and producers, they was heavy into, drinking that alcohol. You got to go to these industry parties where you got a lot of, alcoholic beverages and, champagne and just drinking it a lot. Now, there's nothing wrong with drinking if you drink it moderately. When you drink it in excess, when you surf it, that's when it becomes a problem. And it's affecting your liver. You killing your liver off every time you go hard on that liquor. It says revelings and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High. Okay. So this is why Jake, dying off, because they're not watching their habits. So going back here, man, it's crazy when it says risk factors for diabetes, family history, age, the risk of developing type 2 diabetes increases with age, ethnicity. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Certain ethnicities such as African Americans, Judah, Hispanic Americans, that's you northern tribes, and Native Americans, that's you northern tribe of Gad. So mainly it's you tribes that have the highest risk of these long diseases, going back to the curse, Deuteronomy 28. All right, same with these cancers. Same with sickle cell. And then modifiable risk factors, overweight or obesity. And you look at our people, man. So a lot of our women, man, and a lot of them, they're overweight. They weigh more than a defensive lineman. Hell, an offensive lineman, an offensive lineman, man, they weigh at least 315 plus. And you see a lot of our women walking around, primarily the so-called black woman, and even some of the Latin women too, and Native American. You got the Native American women with the, they be big up top and be, skinny, have skinny legs. The shape be off. A lot of our women, man, they messed up. And then you see when our women are in shape, what they look like. Because they just, on this side, they're careless. Eating the foods that they shouldn't be eating. A lot of sugar. And we all be having that problem, man. We be having sugar cravings. You got to fight it, man. Balance it out. Eat your bitters, eat your herbs, eat your leafy greens. But a lot of what contribute to the obesity is that damn sugar, man. Sugar and a bunch of carbs, a gang of dairy. It says physical inactivity, not getting enough exercise increases your risk. Unhealthy diet, a diet high in processed food, sugary drinks, and unhealthy fats increases risk. High blood pressure, untreated high blood pressure can contribute to diabetes risk. And you can regulate your blood pressure, tart cherry juice, pomegranate juice, cranberry juice, natural cranberry juice, all the juices I'm naming, as long as it's natural. I ain't talking about that ocean spray shit. Okay. It says high cholesterol, high levels of bad cholesterol, increased risk. Going back to the blood pressure, cinnamon. Cinnamon is a good blood regulator as well. Okay. Smoking damages blood vessels and increases diabetes risk. Now and this is just dealing with diabetes. Risk factors for pancreatic cancer. This is what D'Angelo died of. And the top factors, lifestyle factors, smoking. He smoked a lot. You can even go on Google Images, type in D'Angelo pictures, and some of the pictures, he got a cigarette in his mouth. Obesity, he would fluctuate in between albums. He would get big, and then he would get small, then he would get big again. Same with Luther Vandross. Heavy alcohol consumption, unhealthy diet, high in red and processed meats, low in fruits and vegetables. See that? Low physical activity, not exercising. Okay. So this is why, man. Or it can genetically be inherited. Other risk factors: age, exposure to certain chemicals such as benzene and pesticides, and we constantly getting sprayed with that every damn day. But I noticed with the government shut down, and it ain't been too many planes flying out. You know, it's a little different. So these are all different risk factors, man, and it's good to know, so you know what to avoid, and certain choices that you can make, you know, because you can definitely change and reverse these conditions, man. You just got to care, and you have to, you know, put forth the effort. Some of these celebs, they be checked out, you know. They be locked into certain contracts. They're in captivity just like us, just in a different, you know, setting. They got access to more money and more options to do certain things, but they're still in captivity. So they get, you know, they get worn out, and they basically be wanting to check out. So I'm pretty sure that's what it all boiled down to. So you got all these entertainers dropping, man. The dude from De La Soul, yep. These men were all in their 50s. Phife Dawg from Tribe Called Quest died at 45, man, from diabetes. Yeah, man. So going back to where's the scripture at? I want to go back to 30. Yeah, Sirach 30 and 15, it says, health and good estate of body are above all gold, and a strong body above infinite wealth. There is no riches above a sound body, and no joy above the joy of the heart. Death is better than a bitter life or continual sickness. And that's facts, man. I'd rather go than have to deal with all that pain and suffering. You know, all these battles, you know, daily. Can barely get any rest unless you're on some type of med. All right, it says down here, verse 21, it says, give not over thy mind to heaviness, and afflict not thyself in thy own counsel. Talking about, you know, high level stress, which leads to depression. You know, that also is unhealthy too. It says the gladness of the heart is the life of man, and the joyfulness of a man prolong of his days. And these entertainers are not really happy. They usually are not happy at all. So they resort to these addictions, you know, these coping mechanisms, and it leads to them dying. Jump down to verse 25. It says, a cheerful and good heart will have care of his meat and diet. So that's the point of this lesson in the wake of D'Angelo's passing, man. Take your health serious. You know, Jake be on the road, be touring, and not exercising, not eating right. One thing I'll give that nigga Kendrick Lamar, because this dude, he'll perform a whole show. It'll be an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, and he ain't even using a backtrack. He's using his own vocals, and it seemed like this dude ain't getting tired. He has like a long wind. That's because this dude literally, wherever he goes when he performs, he goes out and he runs for like 6 miles and train himself. He exercise, and I'm pretty sure he cares about his diet. You know, so if this is what you living to do, and you want to be around for a while, that's at least what you do. Take care of yourself. You got the means, you got the resources, you got the money. But they'll come into all that money and still let themselves go. So, you just got to be mindful. But as far as him passing, hey, he's back in the spiritual realm. As all Jake, when we release Ecclesiastes 3 and verse 20 and 21, it says, all go into one place, are of the dust, and all turn to dust again. Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward to the earth? You get caught up to the third heaven and you appear before the Lord. All right, while he's sitting on his throne, and Yahushua right there at sitting at the right hand. Ecclesiastes 12 and 7. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return into the Most High who gave it. So no, he's in the spiritual realm. Christians are, you got to pick between going to heaven and hell. No, everybody go to one place. All right, all human spirits go to one place, and that's the spiritual realm. Your body goes down into the earth. You don't go to heaven or hell, you go to the spiritual realm, which is basically the third heaven. Okay? So that's pretty much that, that is the sentence over all flesh, death. We got to go. Now, there's some of us that shall not taste of death till we see the coming of the Son of Man. All right. Some of us are going to be alive and get to witness the Lord coming back in the cloud and in his chariot and the angels, and going to get caught up. And then those that died in the Lord, brothers that passed on, they're going to be raised first in the incorruptible body. And we're going to be immortal. And that's what we're to comfort each other with. That death is going to be swallowed up in victory. We ain't got to deal with death ever again, because sin is going to be left in these corruptible bodies that we had to take on. Going back to the garden, our state was changed from immortal to mortal status. He brought our life expectancy down to 120 years, and now it's 70 to 80 years. But Jake ain't even making that because of sin. When you go against those dietary laws, that's you committing sin. So Jake should consider that. All right. So that's pretty much it. This article puts it in perspective about, Jake health disparities and, dying early lives. Jake be talented and can do all these different great things, but they don't keep the same with their bodies, their health. So that's pretty much it. Lord willing, y'all were edified. I'm gonna give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. And until the next lesson, I say Shalom.